Okay, student, I want to spend the next 15 to 20 minutes or so talking about how to write a literary analysis essay. And the first video I uploaded on Blackboard, I went over the four short stories you have to work on. In fact, you have to choose one of the four stories. Let me rephrase it. You have to choose a theme, a concept, an idea in one of the four short stories to write about. I mentioned Edwidge Dancy Katz, uh, A Wall of Fire Rising. I also mentioned O'Connor's A Good Man Is Hard to Find, James Baldwin's Sun is Blues, Edwidge Dancy Katz, A Wall of Fire Rising, I repeat it again, and Postal Story. So I also went over the major themes in each one of those stories. I mentioned that the short fiction analysis is a 3-page essay, 750 words. You need two outside sources. The story itself is your primary source. For example, should you choose to write on the theme of violence and grace, and O'Connor's A Good Man Is Hard to Find, so the story, A Good Man Is Hard to Find, is your primary text, okay? It's the text you're going to engage closely in your literary analysis. In addition to that primary text, you need to find two peer-reviewed articles in one of our databases at the college. And you need a works cited, okay? Your paper needs to be it needs to be written according to the MLA writing style and format. Okay, so you want to make sure you follow those basic guidelines. Okay, so the purpose of a literary analysis is to carefully examine and evaluate a work of literature, more specifically an aspect of a work of literature. What do I mean by an aspect? An aspect of a work of literature could be considered a character, for example, and Edwidge Dancy Katz, A Wall of Fire Rising. The protagonist is Guy. So you can choose or you can write you can do a character analysis on the protagonist. You can explore, for example, his personality, his dreams, his hope, or the danger of his dream, the danger of what he hopes for. Okay? Or so you can do a character analysis, the same thing. You can do a character analysis on Baldwin's Sonny's Blues. Sonny himself is an interesting character. You can do a character analysis in O'Connor's A Good Man Is Hard to Find. For example, the Misfit. The character The Misfit is an interesting character. So, beside a character analysis, you can choose a theme. Should you want to focus on Baldwin, you can explore the theme of suffering. So, should you choose to write on Paul's short story, you can choose self-delusion as a theme, okay? So that's what we mean by an aspect of a work of literature. A solid literary essay has very specific literary elements that you need to include. So I'm going to go over these things with you. Also, I'm going to upload this handout for you. Okay, I'm actually going over this handout. I always pass out this handout to my students in my ENC 1102 class and my literature class. So I'm going to post this on Blackboard for you. Okay, Now, there has to be a thesis statement. For example, if you choose the danger of dream and hope and Dantica's story, you're going to create a thesis, okay, that leads to the major idea, or that revolves around the major idea of the intersection of dream and hope in this story. The thesis statement is a claim that you make, okay? It tells the reader what they should expect from that paper. It is restricted. It is precisely it is restricted, precisely worded declarative statements. You're making a declaration. You're making an argument. Okay? So you have to have a good thesis statement. And the thesis statement is placed, okay, at the very end of your introductory paragraph. Make sure you have an introduction. An introduction is about 5 to 6 full sentences. And number 6 sentence in the intro is your thesis statement. Your thesis statement cannot be a question. It cannot be a citation. It's a statement itself. You make a statement. That's what a thesis statement is. It is an argument that is articulated in a full statement. Okay? Now, after you articulate that thesis statement in your introduction, you're going to create body paragraphs. Body paragraphs, okay, that are there to substantiate your thesis statement, to support your thesis statement. Now, let me do a little review with you, just in case you don't remember. In ENC 1101, you were taught that a paragraph begins with a topic sentence. So, each paragraph begins with what we call a topic sentence. You see, topics means the first sentence of that paragraph articulates, expresses an idea. The idea that is expressed in the first sentence of the paragraph also provides to your reader what to expect in that paragraph. Okay? The topic sentence cannot be a citation or a question mark. It has to be a full sentence, just like you've done for your thesis statement. Now, so the topic sentence is an argument. It's an argumentative sentence that is associated in particular with that paragraph. And you have to provide support. You have to offer, you have to supply supporting details to back up that topic sentence. Okay? Remember that. So I'm expecting in that 3-page paper to have 3 to 4 paragraphs followed by a conclusion. So you're going to have your introduction. Make sure there's a thesis statement in there. Then you're going to structure your paragraphs, okay, with this. The topic sentence, supporting details, textual evidence. You need to cite the story I want you to read the story closely, because a literary analysis is not a summary of the story. Rather, a literary analysis takes a theme from a story, then the writer, you as the writer, you analyze that theme, you tell me as the reader what that theme conveys in the story, how that theme or that notion, that idea is used in that story. Does that make sense? Okay. So, the structure of the paragraph in the literary analysis should be as follows. First, your topic sentence. Second, I want you to quote the text. You're going to quote from the text to support your topic sentence. Third, I want you to explain the quotation that you just mentioned. Fourth, I want you to engage your outside sources. And number 5, I want you to explain what the outside source means. Okay, let me repeat that. In a literary analysis, there are 5 parts to a paragraph, to the structure of the paragraph. Your topic sentence, which expresses the idea or which focuses on the idea of the paragraph. Number 2, I want you to cite the text. You can take a quotation, or you can paraphrase, take an idea from the text. Make sure you give credit to where that quote or to where that idea is found in the story. Third, because as a writer, you're also a teacher. Your goal is to teach me how the writer of that story uses that theme or talks about that character if you're doing a character analysis. So you're going to explain to me what that citation you just cited means. Third, since I want you to be a critical writer, I want you to engage with outside sources, with criticism. So I want you to incorporate now what you have found from another source. Then I want you to conclude the paragraph with your own idea of what that outside source means. If you follow this simple pattern of the paragraph of the literary analysis, you will do well on that paper. Does that make sense? Okay, let me go forward. Okay, now you have to remember your goal as a writer is always to explain. You need to write with clarity, with precision. Let me give you some hints now. Do not write in the first and second person or first and second person perspective when you write a literary essay. I don't want you to use I, my, your, you. You understand? Rather, I want you to write in the third person. I want you to use the third person part of you. Please avoid contractions. Do not use contractions. Do not use again I and you. Okay? Between the paragraphs, I want you to use transitions. A transition could be a word like however, therefore, consequently, moreover, or it could be a phrase too. A transition is a word whose attempt is to bridge the gap between the previous paragraph and the subsequent one. So the transition is split in the middle of the paragraph, so you can have a smooth reading when you read that paper, that essay. Also, you can place a transition inside the paragraph itself. Okay? Now, so you want to make sure you have a good thesis statement, your paragraphs are well structured, you have to quote the text. This is what I'm looking for in this paper. I'm looking for 4 to 5 citations from the story. You understand? I'm looking for 4 to 5 citations. So you need to have 4 to 5 citations in the story, in your essay. Okay? Now, so this is what we call textual evidence. You have to use textual evidence. When you use textual evidence, you can paraphrase it. That means you use your own words, your own language to reiterate what the author means. You can also summarize an idea, a concept, as a way to use textual evidence. Or you can use direct quotations, okay, from the text. Now, in your conclusion, you want to make sure you highlight, okay, the major theme of that essay. You want to highlight the argument you articulate throughout that paper. Okay? Good luck. And again, when you go on Blackboard, you're going to see a new tab that I created. It's called Submit Short Fiction Analysis. So you're going to click on that to submit your short fiction analysis. Okay, it's due on the 21st, this Sunday at 11:59. Then I'm going to post for you, okay, a handout how to write a literary analysis essay. If you look in your book, I think your book has a simple literary analysis. So I'm going to upload this for you. I'm going to create another tab on Blackboard. You will see it. It's going to say how to write a literary analysis essay. Okay? I hope you have a good day. Again, this is Dr. Joseph.